The Glanville ex parte meeting transcript is out and is causing waves among those observing the YSL trial. As a point of reference, Judge Glanville conducted a secret ex parte meeting on June 10, 2024, with Woody Copeland and the YSL trial prosecutors. Many people believe Woody to be the prosecution's star witness. Controversy arose when lawyers for rapper Young Thug and other YSL defendants learned about the meeting and complained that they had not been invited. This set off a chain of events which resulted in Glanville agreeing to submit himself to a recusal hearing and releasing a transcript of the ex parte meeting. Observers had expected Glanville to release a complete, unredacted account of what transpired. But now, after reviewing the transcript, many are questioning whether the document had been redacted. Here are 5 top theories of potential redactions to the Glanville ex parte meeting transcript. At numerous points, the conversation jumps around, with people seemingly making reference to things they had said earlier. Only those presumed earlier parts of the conversation are not included in the transcript. This could be due to the fact that the transcript records natural human conversation, which can jump around quite a bit and where people speak over one another frequently. It could also reflect that some parts of the transcript have been redacted. Here's an example. Number 5. Bumpus mentions here a refundable ticket as if she had already told the others about it, but this is the first time she mentions it. Also, Bumpus seems to randomly say that she tried to go back and watch as much as she could, but she never says what it is that she tried to watch. Mrs. Love. See, that's not in Mr. Copeland's best interest. That's in the defendant's best interest. When you say switch and how he gets called, what does that have to do with anything? Mrs. Bumpus. I don't know. Maybe he's saying he can't do it because he can't get his refundable ticket. Mrs. Love. That is not what he said in that email to you, and that is not what he relayed to the court. And his concerns have nothing to do with the court. He was very much Mrs. Bumpus. I tried to go back and watch as much as I could. And here is another example in which Mrs. Hilton says, we keep on saying yet. But when you search the transcript, no one had said yet until Hilton mentioned it here. There's no, we keep on saying yet, but there is no crime. We keep on saying yet. I don't know who is telling you about a crime. There is no crime. You have done nothing wrong except for not. Number 4. One of numerous examples of where Mrs. Hilton seems to be suggesting to Woody that he should say something untrue, or at least that she will allow it. Was there more to this part of the conversation that the transcript left out? Mrs. Hilton. It's not, what you are saying is not perjury. What you are saying is what we call a prior inconsistent statement. Your example that you gave me, what if I said I did something and I know you didn't do it, and you said before you didn't do it? That's not perjury. That is a prior inconsistent statement. Number 3. Lieutenant Dean entered the chambers and said there was a security issue. Judge Glanville and Lieutenant Dean exited chambers at 10:45 a.m. Judge Glanville returned to chambers at 10:47 a.m. The very next line is Mrs. Hilton continuing to talk to Woody. But when Glanville returns, he makes no mention of the nature of the security issue or why he had to step away. What is the chance that Judge Glanville will be called out of his chambers, especially for a security issue? And when he returns, he does not make any kind of statement to those present as to what happened, not even asking them to excuse his absence. Something seems to be missing here. Number 2. This back and forth at a minimum seems to be Mrs. Hilton allowing Woody to lie about certain crimes, which is very troubling. At worst, an even more damaging part of the conversation may have been omitted. Mrs. Hilton. But if you say something that you know you did not do, like you admit to something you know you did not do, whether you, Mr. Copeland, like murder don't have like no statute of limitations, right? Mrs. Hilton. But if you didn't do it, I can't charge you with something you didn't do because I don't have any other evidence but you saying it. Mr. Copeland. But y'all don't, like Mrs. Bumpus. You can charge him with false statements and he will be back in jail. That is what I'm trying to say, Mrs. Hilton. But if I know that you are lying about that, I do not intend to do that. If I know right now he's lying, I know he's lying. I'm not going to charge you because I don't know your reason for doing that. But I'm not going to charge you when I know you didn't do what you are trying to say you did now. And that can be a part of this. I know you didn't do it. Number 1. At one point, Woody Copeland blurts out, "I did these crimes," seemingly without having first discussed to which crimes he was referring. It seems like some part of the conversation was left out. To what crimes is Woody referring? For context, here is that part of the conversation. Mrs. Hilton, he should, so long as he remains. But if you get up there and be like, if you get to testifying and then we get into it and you start saying, "I plead the fifth," we're going to be back here again. Mrs. Bumpus. But if he says he don't recall to everything, he'll be okay? Mrs. Hilton. I'm not advising that, but so long as he answers the questions, that's fine. So long as he... Mr. Copeland. I did these crimes, I'm telling you that. Mrs. Hilton. Okay. I don't know what you are talking about, but... Those are 5 places where we found that the transcript may have been redacted. Do you agree with us? Did you find other locations that seem to be redacted? Tell us in the comments.